How fares the search?
Please let this work.
The weight of it. And that blaze of chaos. Can't imagine this where my heart should be. Must be quite the experience. Give me just a moment. And I think... There. You'll have to install it, I'm afraid. I don't think there are thick enough gloves in all the realms to protect from that kind of heat.
That feels... good. I'm still burning hot as hell's hole, but I feel less... changeable. Cheers, mate.
Pleasure. And as for the heat, I haven't got any solutions now, but I'm not giving up. Could be if the combustion chamber had its own insulation, or if we had some kind of enchanted coolant. Find me again in Baldur's Gate. If I'm worth my salt, I'll have figured something out by then. Take care, Karlach. And hopefully the next time I see you, I'll have something promising to report. Pocket any infernal iron you find along the way, Damn druids. Who uses wooden tools?
Damon's upgrade didn't cool me down, but it did juice me up. I don't think I've ever felt more powerful. Do you want to? I'd like that. Now, let's find that infernal iron before I overheat.
What's on your mind? Ah, yes. Karsus. Karsus was perhaps the most powerful wizard that ever lived. The child who would be a god, the elves called him. And he tried. With a spell of his own devising, he endeavored to usurp in one fell swoop the power of the goddess of magic. Mistral, she was called then. Imagine what it must have felt like. To be a god. To know yourself, to be untouchable. To be mistaken. As Karsus aimed his spell at her, she began to unravel. And with her, the entire weave. Too late did he realize what he had unleashed. It would have been the end of everything had not Mistral sacrificed herself. The goddess of magic is all magic. By dying, the entire weave was lost, and the spell that challenged a god failed. It was the end of Mistral, the end of Karsus, and the end of an entire civilization. As the child who would be a god was turned to stone, his empire came crashing down around him. The floating cities of Netheril were no more. An event that came to be known as Karsus's folly. For a spell, Mistral was reborn as Mistra. Upon her return, the weave returned with her. Now, so many centuries later, I try to follow in the footsteps of Karsus. Not to destroy Mistra, but to prove my love for her. Tried to control only a fraction of the magic that was unleashed that fateful day. I merely sought to return one tiny diamond to an imperfect crown. Gale's folly, one might call it. History, repetition. It's the way things go. If it should ever come to that, if I ever know I am no longer able to stop it, I will do anything I can to ensure no one but me pays for my mistakes. I will find the remotest place on the surface of Faerun, or perhaps far below in the depths of the Underdark. I will await that death, alone. I promise I will not betray your trust. You kept me by your side despite the menace that I am. If worst comes to worst, I will be long gone before the curtain falls.
Gales had this devastating all within himself the entire time, and only just mentioned it. Who'd keep a secret like that from his friends? You can't trust anyone these days.
Well met. I think that unknowable powers come with unknowable consequences. I can't say I'm not curious, but once you've taken a lithid by the talon, there's no telling how deep into the abyss it might drag you. I'm more than a bit wary, I admit. Still, I am the frontier's avowed protector. New dangers require new skills to vanquish them. If the tadpole must be my curse, then let the powers it grants me be the Sword Coast's blessing. I will consume what I must to make it so.
What's on your mind?
Pick her on.
No, no.
And I'll... Think of it. No more caves, no more tents, no more running away. We'll be in a city with roads and markets and homes.
Look at them all. Guzzling poison like we've the right to be happy. Perhaps it'll make the evening more tolerable.
To beds and hearths, to dirty pubs and dwarven ale.
Fate spins along as it should.
Dost thou require a new ally? Or mayhaps a resurrection instead?
Ah, hells. I was hoping you wouldn't notice I was gone. Really? I'm honored. In truth, I don't feel in a festive mood, and I didn't want to cast a grey cloud over the night. I'm a devil. I love the people from the Grove, but I unsettle them deep down. as I seem to unsettle everyone nowadays. You don't want a devil at your party. Horns this sharp will pop the balloons, you see, and the guests won't take kindly to scars quite so monstrous. If only half the world had half the heart you do. But, off with you. This is your day. Have a dance. Enjoy the music. In truth, I always enjoyed a bit of pomp. I once beat the Baldur record for the most sarabands danced in a single evening, much to the exhaustion of the good ladies and gentlemen of the gate. I imagine you're fairly skilled with your form too. That would be a sight to behold. You cut quite a fine figure. I can just imagine leading you with an entire ballroom watching. But who am I fooling? I can't go back to that life. You drive a hard bargain, but just the one. Well, then, you've got a party to get back to. After all, tonight is about you. There will be another time for us.
Patience? Have you no respect for showmanship?
Having performance issues, Roland?
Hush you, and behold! Adoring applause? You're too kind.
Remember when he could barely cast that?
They grow up so fast.
Never have I met such troglodytes. Now, pass the wine. An adoring crowd, fine wine. I dare say this place is almost civilized. Only to the untrained eye. That was the 5th time they've asked for fireworks. Glorified children, those two. Once my training with Leroican is complete, I'll put on a real show for them.
Look at them. How happy they are. We did that. Yeah. Don't tell Roland, but his magic show might be the highlight. He's been doing them since we were little. He'll make it big in Baldur's Gate. I know it.
Are Roland and Leah actually getting along? I know you cut down a horde of goblins, but this is far more impressive.
This might be the wine talking, but I'm feeling inspired. Thinking of writing my next song about you. But I need an angle. Any ideas? One raunchy ballad coming up. Your song was coming along. Then things began spinning. Worry not. I shall return to it at first light.
Go on now. Don't waste a night like this talking to me. We'll discuss your problem tomorrow. In truth, I rarely imbibe. The stuff goes right to my head. Before you know it, I'd be breaking into song or declaring love to the first person I laid eyes on. Then you have never heard me singing, which makes you very fortunate. I'm sure there are. You strike me as extremely resourceful. But there are many grateful people here who want to spend time with you. I must not keep you all to myself, as enjoyable as that may be. Go on, enjoy yourself. Seek out some wine before it runs dry. There are a lot of thirsty people around here.
Try not to get too close. Hope you're enjoying the night, hero. I certainly am. Cheers to many more like this.
You have no idea how good it feels to see these people smiling. The singing we could probably do without, but even so, thank you.
Aha, there you are. Come now, settle in. I do hope you have partaken of something bracing. This may well take us all night. But I am engaged in celebration of the purest form. Commemoration. If we are to write your legend in the stars, then we must first give you a name. That ballad was but a crude preview, a frame without its crowning jewel. Your nom de guerre. Something iconic, but not too much of a mouthful. We don't want to exclude the common folk, after all. I intend this tale to enrapture all. Not to meddle in your side of this partnership, but slaying goblins is not exactly the stuff of legends, is it? After all, I'm quite certain I once saw one expire from the strain of spelling his own name. No, I'm afraid that won't do. You shall simply have to go out and slay something decidedly more dramatic.
Thank you. I'm glad you sought me out. Amidst all this merriment, I wasn't sure we'd have a chance to speak this evening. I was hoping you'd spare me a moment. It was something rather magical I wished to show you.
A lesson. And trust me when I say few have experienced the pleasure I offer to teach. However, it's something best experienced in more intimate surrounds. Once the revelry is ended, and the stillness of the night has been restored. For now, please, enjoy the celebration. When it is done, I will show you all.
Would you look at this place? All these people happy because of us. It's nice to be somewhere where good is still possible. Take you and Gale, for instance. Don't think I haven't noticed the sparks flying. He's a good egg. A little scholarly for my taste, but I'm sure you could crack his spine like a new book. Good to see the two of you getting along anyway. At least one of us is getting a little action. Though, you know, if you wanted to meet up later, maybe we could meet up later. I don't think your little friend would let me hear the end of it if I accepted. No matter how much I wanted to. And I really want to. This is bad. But I want to be bad. With you. I'll come find you when the others have gone to bed. Wait up for me, all right? Yes.
Everyone seems to be in high spirits. I saw you with Gale. You two looked cozy. Far be it from me to judge. Blood must still be running a little hot after everything. Strange. You know who I never thought I'd find myself caring for? Exactly right. Never gave them much thought. Certainly not that bunch in the grove. Yet we came through for them. We saved their lives. Odd. That's more easily said by some than others. But nobody's here to debate right from wrong. Share a bottle with me? Just a bottle. I think you have other plans afterwards. Wouldn't want to keep you. Well, maybe I would. But first come, first served.
Shadowheart says nothing, but the glimmer of interest in her eyes is unmistakable.
Best not keep me waiting. I'd prefer not to entertain myself.
You know, I never pictured myself as a hero. Never thought I'd be the one they'd toast for saving so many lives. And now that I'm here... I hate it. This is awful. True. That was fun. Still, I would have liked more for my trouble than a pat on the head and vinegar for wine.
It's a heavy, rich red, dry and sharp.
See what I mean? Awful. All I want is a little fun. Is that so much to ask? Not at all. I was hoping for companionship. And, well, maybe a little death. Figuratively speaking. Well, it's easy for some, of course. You and Gale seem to be getting on very well. I wonder if he uses magic in the bedroom. That could go very well. Or very badly. No, my love. I'm not jealous of the walking encyclopedia. But you go ahead. Have fun. If you're looking for another shot, I'm afraid you've missed it.
I have seen the Kithraki tear a screaming Nyogi's legs from its belly to fashion into blades. Yet they could not match your nerve today. It was enough to drive me to madness. A pity for us you have promised your body to Gale. I've no doubt he's as seductive as he is succinct. You know the fortune of my company. Another fortune yet stands before you. A warrior's flesh, rarely tasted. Think if you must. The chance will pass come light of day. Celebrate now. Come dawn, we depart.
Go on, do your rounds. But if they hand you something purple, don't drink it. I think they got into Ethel's potions.
But we were brave and fried them all with a thunder wave.
But that's not what happened.
Live a little.
You came through for us. That's a change from most adults I know. Watching a bunch of old folks get dumber by the dramful. And when they run dry, I've got a few bottles tucked away to keep things flowing. For a price, of course.
Buzz of celebration quiets to a soothing hum as you approach your bunk. Your hand was sought by several, but there is only one night ahead. Whose company will you seek? At least for tonight. Your heart skips a beat. What treasures might this night bestow?
Oh. My, you startled me. It's miles away. Just pondering what I lost. Mystra commands all magic. Salvation, if such a thing exists, is hers to bestow or withhold. And yet even now, more than I fear losing my own self and soul, I fear losing my command of her art. Magic is my life. I've been in touch with the weave for as long as I can remember. There's nothing like it. It's like music, poetry, physical beauty, all rolled into one and given expression through the senses. Is it the same for you? Yes, as raw and ancient as the veins of Bahamut. Perhaps I can show you what I mean by reaching into the weave together. Then follow my lead. Now you.
You feel something strange, like a kind word and a kind touch at the same time. It's warm and comfortable.
Excellent. Now, repeat after me. Athran Mistraril Kantrak Eo.
Ah, yes. The scent of rosewater and a sense of well-being. A sliver of weave that tastes sweet on the tongue.
Very good. Now, I want you to picture in your mind the concept of harmony, as true as you can.
You see, or is it sense, the unmistakable presence of Mystra, the Lady of Mysteries. There's something like the anticipation of a kiss, then the pleasure of being cloaked in peace. You are safe. You are nestled in the cup of Mystra's hand.
You did it! You're channeling the weave. How does it feel? That it does.
The weave connects you. The moment feels intimate. You realize the weave is making you one. You have but to imagine your desire, and Gale will know it.
I didn't think.
You perceive quick-fire gusts of embarrassment, trepidation, and finally, elation.
Sorry, I wasn't expecting. But it is a pleasant image, to be sure. Most pleasant, in fact. Most welcome.
The weave evaporates, and as it does so, you realize the night feels suddenly cold and lonesome.
Oh. There it goes. How easily things slip away from us, no matter how hard they were in the obtaining. Good night. I enjoyed sharing a moment of magic with you.
I trust you enjoyed your evening. After all your efforts, it was well deserved. It may be some time before you're afforded another such night. There is much to be done, and I promised I would help you however I could. I'm certain a cure for you can be found at Moonrise Towers, but it's complicated. The journey specifically, it's extremely perilous, though it seems you're well accustomed to navigating danger. To get to the towers, you'll need to pass through a terrible place. A cursed place. This curse shrouds everything in shadow. You will not find life, light, or anything natural there. Any who linger are twisted by the curse. They become shadow beings, tormented, dangerous souls. So it seems, though I don't know how. You'll have to choose your approach carefully. You could go overland, along the Risen Road or through the mountains. Easier at first, but you'll run into the Shadow Curse eventually. You could also go under. There is a tunnel somewhere in the ruined Temple of Selûne. It leads to Moonrise Towers through the Underdark. Long ago, a man called Ketheric Thorm built a secret stronghold deep down there, before rallying a whole army of Dark Justiciars, Shah worshippers. Aradin and his lot were looking for a way down there. They were promised riches if they retrieved a relic called the Night Song. But I think there's more. From this stronghold, Ketheric's forces could access both the Temple of Selûne and Moonrise Towers. But he was defeated before he could launch an attack. If you can find this place, I'll wager it will reveal a more direct path to Moonrise Towers. And maybe even bypass the worst of the Shadow Curse. You may reconsider once you see the effects of the curse for yourself. I would like to join your camp, if you'll allow me. I can offer my skills, my counsel. I've long sought to return to Moonrise Towers. It seems our fates have aligned. I've chosen a successor as first druid, Francesca of the High Forest. A bird's already been dispatched to summon her. Precisely. Who indeed? You do not know, and neither do any of the others. The Grove needs to move beyond the mistakes of the past. What it needs is an unknown quantity. An outsider who can enforce the Oakfather's teachings without bias. This is why I chose Francesca. She will restore simplicity and purity to the Grove in my absence. Contrary to how some think of us, we druids can play politics when necessary. Now, we've quite the journey ahead. Best get started. I advise you start in the Temple of Selûne. If you find the Dark Justiciar's hidden entrance, it could lead you all the way to Moonrise.